This week on Media Dialogues with Storyboard18, we speak with Rana Barua, the executive leading one of the fastest growing agency networks in the region at a time of massive disruption across advertising, media and marketing. From AI and automation to talent wars, billings pressure and the future of integrated agencies, Rana joins us to discuss where Havas India stands in the global network, what's driving growth, and how the industry is preparing for its next big transformation. I want to dial back and look at Havas's growth over the last few years. Despite the headwinds, the challenges, it's grown significantly faster, I would say, compared to the others. So when you look at the network today, Rana, what does winning look like to you? What are you measuring? Where are the successes coming from? Is it revenue growth, billings, new business? What does success for Havas look like today?
Yeah, so you're right. Challenging times, turbulent times, I think that's like been the order of the day, especially in my 8 years. I've been with Havas. We had COVID, then we've had this entire war scene which continues from different parts of the world. But I think in Havas what's happened which has helped us is that, when we started this journey, we knew exactly that, especially thanks to our chairman Yannick Bolloré, who actually said that India is going to be a center of excellence, a center of growth, and very clearly a position where he wanted India to come out of the size that it was, a much smaller space that we were in. But over the years, what happened is that, with the investments that started coming in, we naturally grew, which is exactly what you were saying, that we grew into a very large organization. We become, it's not about the number of people, it's just that we've got all the agencies and verticals. We grew both organically and inorganically through acquisitions. We've had strategic tie-ups, we've had alliances. So I think we played very smart to the strategy that we laid out for ourselves. We were clear that we had to grow. We were clear that we had to get a smart bunch of expertise, as we call it, just not agencies. We got the right talent. We got excellent leaders in the zone. So I think what's happened over the last year especially, and this is currently my 8th year of running Havas for the group in India and the region. What is clearly mandated, if you look at the kind of winning, as you called it, I think it's clearly bucketed under 2 or 3 ways we look at it. One is naturally we would love to win more new business or new clients, but I think we are also pretty particular about the clients that you want. You don't want a huge volume of clients. If you look at the group right now, and the last count we did, we have around 1,000 unique clients in the group. What I mean by that is that apart all the companies, when you kind of get all the clients in from each of the group, you realize there are many clients which are unique to either some 2 or 3 agencies or one particular agency, which basically means is that you've got enough and more clients in the group where you can win more business from. So that's what we call as organic growth, the power of integration, the power of the village, where we focus a lot more than ever before. We didn't have this story maybe a couple of years back, because we didn't have so many clients to begin with. And with the position of strength that we've become, we've attracted so many more clients. So I think one comes from winning new clients is absolutely a fabulous thing to do, but the quality of clients has to be unique, because we cannot manage volume clients anymore because of the scaled up version. So we look at clients which have a clear strategic value that we can add. We definitely look at within the group to see how can we grow from within. And sometimes what happens is, and you're aware of it, that sometimes a new client win takes a lot of time. Sometimes easier to deep dive within and go to a client and explain to him or her what we offer, and you start getting more business. So I think these are the 2 key ways, for us winning is there. And of course, if you look at the challenging times, it becomes very, very clear that you have to be very clear on your top line, which is the growth that you're getting, and you have to maintain your margins. You'll have to keep enough for the rainy day. You don't know which way this thing will go. You don't know what will happen. I think we become very, very cautious about costs in all form, and which is good for any company which is either growing or is in a growth state.
I want to stay on this point for a little bit longer, because from what I'm hearing and what I know of how Havas operates, although it is a global holding company by definition, it doesn't operate necessarily like one. Going back to your point about not chasing volumes, is that very fundamentally different from what you're seeing other holding companies do? You know, how is it? How do you see that? Will that continue? Given the strain on businesses today, given the strain on spending today, given the strain on consumer spending, do you see this strategy continuing year on year?
So, you're right. So I think first, yeah, we are different in the essence that we are an entrepreneur-led agency, right, or a network. The Bolore family naturally manages us, which naturally allows us to act as CEOs, but we are part entrepreneurs. We take decisions, we take our own risks. Sometimes those work, sometimes it doesn't, but we are aware that we are acting like entrepreneurs. So you take certain decisions, and you go ahead and take calls. In terms of clients, and naturally I'm not absolutely being disrespectful here or trying to say that we look at a certain size or kind of business. What I'm trying to explain to you is that this entire change that's happened, when you see the entire change, it depends on the agency life cycle stage. So for example, if you have a media agency or you have a performance agency like Pivot Roots, or I have a experiential marketing agency like Showbiz, they are of a certain size and scale that they have become, where it gets difficult for them to pick up too many volume businesses, because they have reached a stage where they have, in a very mature cycle where they pick up large scale clients, they deliver on large scale events or whatever. So I think it's on the life cycle of these agencies. And again, I'm not defining any revenue by volume or value. It's about the client and the investment they want to do. Many a times what we are seeing, and you would have heard this debate forever, retainer versus projects.
Right.
You would be hearing this and all. You'll be surprised to know that, and this is something I'm tracking very closely, is that retainers or clients who want associations are coming back more, and projects which used to happen many more are probably becoming lesser. So
that's good news.
Yeah, it's great news. And I'm a big believer of long-term relationships and partnerships, because I don't believe you can build a brand in 3 months. If you have to do a job, it's fine. You can do a one-off campaign or a one-off show or a one-off strategic advice, that's fine. But I don't think you can do that.
Where does India stand in Havas's global scheme of things right now? Is it being seen as a more powerful growth engine going forward? Again, keeping the backdrop of everything that's happening right now globally, where does India stand?
As a network, they're very clear that India is among those 7, 8, 9 markets. That's good, because they've seen results. They can see where it is headed, in terms of business, both in terms of the advertising media spends, and also as a country. Yes, we may have a challenges of the conversion ratio going up. We may have a challenge about certain, ups and downs of that, but it's still pretty much, it's not this way. It's still going this way. Even if it comes down, it's still pretty stable. So I think the India story is a long-term growth story. It's not going to disappear over the next decade or something. So that story, I'm quite confident about, will remain. So I think if you look at the overall, country, I think we've got enough space to keep growing. Yeah, of course, the scale is quite huge, but I think that story will remain. And I think we are far away from a bit of a saturation or a slowdown for a bit. The challenges will remain, but I think what is going to pull us through is the scale, the population, and the size. That will definitely remain our trump card for some time.
Trump card.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Good use of the word there. But of all the bets that you've made, say in the past 4, 5, 6 years, where is the proof of the pudding the best, right? Where are you seeing that payoff, that return happening already?
I think for us, naturally in India, I think I would say that so the few areas where we've done extremely well, I think, is Havas Media, and globally, we've got a huge support from our global team, which is led by Peter Mayers, which has really supported Havas Media in a very large way. So we've seen the results in media, and especially with our acquisition of Pivot Roots, this whole combination coming together. We've seen some dramatic results and client wins across the last few years, and something that we are quite excited, because the media group we were maybe in below 10 or something. We are probably in the top 6, 7 for the group, which is naturally a big thing to be happy and proud about. On the creative side, I think, again, very clearly the way we build this whole platform, again, very, very, aptly driven. If you see, it's run by Donna, Donna Murphy is the CEO of Havas, both creative and health. Now, the way we build this, again, is a very tight ecosystem of agencies that work together. So we've seen the Havas creative agency do well. Last year it won Cannes and everything. So it came back in a very large way. We have Showbiz, which has been an extremely smart investment for us, which is an experienced agency. And I think we did PR Pandit again, which was a very, very, apt for us, because not only is it well known, it also allowed us to get into the luxury world in a very aggressive way. So I think some of these investments have been, very, very beneficial for us. I won't say we've been lucky. I think we've been smart with our investments. And I think we've been lucky, I can say, is with those leaders, because the leaders are very good. They've helped us. So I think, one of my learnings on acquisitions has been, sometimes you get tempted with many. But what we now watch out for us is the leadership and the culture. That's important for it to succeed.
We'll stay on this for a bit more, because I know that Yannick has, in previous conversations, whether it's on interviews or conference calls, has been very vocal about strategy when it comes to acquisitions. When it comes to India, what is the sort of the vision that he has set out for you as leaders here? And I'm just keeping aside the other regions that you look at.
Sure.
Just specifically speaking about India, what does he want in the market here?
I think again, it stems from the point that I told you. It stems from the point that, is there enough, if I look at the entire opportunity that lies, is there enough space to grow? I think there's huge space for Havas to grow. I just gave you a list of X number of clients, that's unique clients. Can I double it? Yes. Can each agency grow more? Yes. So I think we are of a size and scale in India where we can only grow more and bigger. So I think that's one point that he's, always tells us that, Havas can grow bigger. And, if you look at, the numbers that India is producing, and, I saw the Q1 results, we are well above double digits in terms of growth. So that's a great place to be. And it's not a small base anymore. People can ask me, but maybe your base is small. The base has grown in the last 8 years. So we are on a pretty decent top line where we are growing at double digits. Big means greater than double digits. So it's in a place where we can grow bigger. So that's one, I think. So that's one thing he's very clear about. And I think he continues to look at, building. We are trying to build. Let's see how it goes. We're trying to build global center of excellences out of India. It's not because it's a cheaper market or a cost efficiency. Of course, it's efficient. Cost efficiency goes with India, right? But I think we can build better because we speak English. The talent is very much attracted to working at different working hours. So I think we're trying to build that in a larger way, because we're taking it step by step. If somebody had to ask me, but other networks have already done it, but they've been here for years. For me now, this is stage 2 of moving forward. So we are trying to build a global center of excellences. We've got something for Havas Media out of Bombay office. We've got something called POP, which is the production hub. It's a production hub in Chennai, which is got 150 odd people. We are trying to build something for health. Maybe we'll build it in somewhere nearby. We're trying to build something for design, again, which is for both UX, UI and design. So I think these are the next stages of growth that's going to come in terms of this. And I think, let's see, in terms of acquisitions, we continue to look forward for more.
Yes, and look at leaders as well, like you mentioned. Speaking about leadership, and before we get to AI, and I want to just keep it conversation, which is why I'm just picking on some of the things that you're saying. When it comes to, we've always seen how holding company leaders in the market, don't have perhaps as much autonomy as other markets. Have you seen that shift perhaps? I know Havas operates a little differently from, whether it's WPP or now Omnicom with IPG in it. Densu is another example. In terms of how leadership is allowed to function here, how would you say Havas does it?
I think, you're right. So let's be straightforward here. I think Havas works in a very different way, right? So I think the way Yannick's entire philosophy is, and along with Yannick, like I said, the two key people who, work with us very closely. One is Donna and one is Peter. I think it's a much flatter way of working here. So a lot of credit should be given to the leaders here. Why? Because they allowed me to work in a certain way in the last 8 years. I'm not sure whether the same would have happened if I was with other networks. The kind of decisions I've taken, or the kind of expansion plans we've done, the things that I've been saying, whether it's about launching a new vertical, whether it's an acquisition, even strategic alliances. We've done multiple strategic alliances with places where we need to get in. So you do work as a entrepreneur. You work, of course, you have your guardrails of what the Havas governance is. As long as you're within the entire guardrails and not trying to create something out of the box or something which doesn't make sense for the group, that doesn't happen. But there's far more autonomy here. And it allows you to, sometimes, just go ahead and take certain decisions, as long, like I said, it's thing. But it's definitely a much more faster, far more agile way of working. And I've
experienced. You need that right
yes,
now.
100%.
Absolutely need
yeah, because you can't keep waiting. You can't, if you have to build a business plan and get conviction and get clearance and approvals over 90 days, you probably have lost the plan. Here, decisions, as long as you're clear, you go into a business plan meeting, you say, okay, this is what I want, the questions will be answered. Sometimes, for example, there's something called acqui-hire that we do where we merge companies and all. We get decisions done in a month or month and a half. That's much quicker than ever before. So it's a much, much faster way of working here.
Going back to the point on AI, and we'll quickly take a couple of points on that as well. Are we moving the conversation now to, when we speak about AI today, within the advertising agency context, it's always essentially about cost efficiencies. Is that conversation moving to something else now, toward growth perhaps? Because AI will come. It'll make everything efficient. There will be redundancies, there will be layoffs, etc. But what next? How is it helping you grow the business? Have you seen any tangible proofs already of where it's making a difference, whether it's media planning, buying, creativity, any aspect of the business?
So I think two things to that. So let me phrase it in two ways. So I think in this year, around Jan or Feb, Yannick actually rolled out a new vision for this whole group. So it was very interesting when he rolled it out. He said, growth powered by desire. So, when we went through it, it seemed very obvious. But, when you look at this whole vision statement, it basically said that brands which are going to be far more desirable, brands which would make the consumers far more engaging in terms of desiring them, are the ones which are going to grow faster. Now, which is true, because what we are seeing across the world is that when you start engaging or build a relationship with a certain brand, you start desiring it more. So that was one statement that he said. Now, the question is that why did this vision happen when you knew that you were building this whole world of AI and everything? Now, imagine I lay the statement in front of you, that growth powered by desire, and then you see the whole world is now getting into a world of AI. So we launched AVA, which is what we launched this year, the portal that I discussed about, the LLM portal, which allows you. Now, if you start filtering it and start putting it into a method to this whole madness, and you say, okay, these are the brands that I'm going to make happen. You may not be able to do it for all, but if you start putting the tools and all, you realize that AI actually allows you, and the way it's working, this whole tools work and all, and then we have a strategic operating tool which, to answer your question, takes the whole thing together. It's called Converged AI, which kind of now then converges strategy, data, creative, media, the whole cycle, and brings all this method back to madness. It's not easiest, I will not say it's very easily done, but it's an attempt to get things in a more systematic way so that there is more method to this madness of how efficient can you run data, how can data feed into creativity, how can creativity then feed into a plan which makes more sense, or at least communication makes more sense, and then how does media get into it. So I think it's right now in a place where it's moving at a certain pace, but it's also forming a certain shape where we are seeing that there are certain conversations are coming back. For example, one thing that's definitely coming back is, in terms of intellect, do you have expertise? Superior expertise is going to become a need of the hour. So you can say, okay, this is not required, I'm okay with this, but I'm still going to rely on a person's expertise or knowledge. So I'm calling it, this is something which I'm saying earlier we used to say, gone are the days of generalist, you have to be a specialist. I'm saying gone are the days of generalist and specialist. You have to be a super specialist. So it's going to be a tougher one for people like us, because just being a specialist is not going to help. You have to be super good in that bit to give a differentiated point of view.
Yeah, because AI has pretty much flattened all of that, right?
Exactly.
Democratized that specialism
Completely.
that's required. One more quick question before I close with the final question. We've seen, of course, aggressive bets being made in influencer marketing.
Yeah.
Gen Z, of course, we know the spending power there. There are all sorts of, fantastical numbers when it comes to trying to, speak about Gen Zs and their spending power and all of that. What are the investments that are happening, say, in influencer marketing for the group? Is that going to be a key focus going forward?
I think it's an important focus. It means there are two things in that. It's influencer and social. So I think it's hand in glove, because the influencer marketing person or whatever, the people are naturally in the social medias. That's where they're playing the game. So it's hand in glove in that. I think it's important for us to look at it. I'm definitely looking at it in many ways.
Acquisitions?
Both. Acquisitions, whether I can also have a partnership with something going, because I think that's the need of the hour. So I'm not going to shy away from the fact that clients are asking for it, because they're seeing success, right? So I think, will it be sustainable? Will it be long term? Again, like every single trend, it's the need of the hour. So I come from a belief that, you shouldn't challenge anything that's the need of the hour. You should go with the tide. If you have to partner a client, you work with it, and if it works for a few years, why not? So I think it's important that we adopt this whole model.
And they have a number of, service offerings. I mean, lots of people providing that service, whether it's independent, smaller boutique shops, the larger agencies have made acquisitions as well. Do you feel that you are perhaps a little late to that party right now?
No, it's okay. You know why? Because again, it's very early days.
Very early, and we're finally seeing a little bit of maturity there.
Yeah,
right?
it's
people
very
asking
early
questions on ROI finally.
Yeah, so ROI is being questioned, but I think what has also happened is that, you're right. You see, the point is that they're easily available. So if a client asks me for a question or a challenge, I know that I can get them on board tomorrow.
Right.
Now, whether I can manage them or not on something, that's something we'll have to figure. Because I don't think any agency can completely say that they're absolutely, I've got these 1,000 people or something. You can't.
Right.
Because it can't be so exclusive, right? I know certain large clients have announced certain things about, they're going to move the entire business from here to there. There are many of our clients who are speaking the same language. So I think, can you do it as a homegrown model? No, it's not easy, because these are all independent professionals. I think they're doing a great job themselves. But we have to be very smart about how to get them on board, whether it's a group of people or whether it's a company who can manage the whole thing, because it's managing. It's, in a way, it's like what talent management was many years back. So you'll have to have somebody who can manage. And I don't think the talent management people were ready for it. They didn't know that suddenly there will be a flurry of talent in this country or anywhere in the world who we need to manage.
Absolutely. Good message for us all. Thank you so much for joining me, Rana. Lots to pick on, of course, for another conversation as well. Thank you again.
Thank you very much.